Okay. Right. Okay. I'd like to introduce Gus from the Marketing Guru. I will let him introduce himself, as I do with everybody. So, Gus, tell us a little about yourself and your business that you're in.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Adam, and good morning, everybody. My name is Gus Bhandal. I run a business called the M Guru. M stands for marketing, obviously. But I help businesses with all aspects of digital marketing. So I focus on social media, but I cover blogs, email marketing, kind of training, coaching, etc. But in essence, I take everything off people's hands. So people just say, "Here, just manage my channels for me," and I say, "Sure, I can do that." So that's kind of where my business is at the moment.
Excellent. And do you have a sweet spot? Do you have a niche that you focus in on mainly, or is it?
Not really. No. One of the things I do is I focus on making sure that I work with the businesses. So I kind of have the businesses involved. The main thing is that in essence, I do the legwork. So it's about, creating the content, posting the content, analyzing it, speaking to the public and all that kind of stuff, engaging with audiences. But the content, I sit down with the client to discuss whatever they want to talk about, for example. Because I can't be an expert in every industry, but the main thing is I take your social media off your hands because you're the expert in your own business, right? So you concentrate on your business and I'll concentrate on the marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen some of your marketing because I've seen some of the fantastic images that you've done. I think there was one that was done. There was band members.
Yeah, the Backstreet Boys. Yes,
that was it. The Backstreet Boys. And I've seen. Yeah. I think it was another one that was it Rambo-esque or?
Yes, yeah. So cut a long story short, through networking, I met a gentleman called Simon Clements, and he's one of the world's greatest kind of graphic designers, and we're friends, and etc. And every now and again, he'll when he has some free time, he'll send me this ridiculous photoshopped image of me, and essentially I take that image and kind of make some kind of marketing spiel out of it. So yeah, I've been Rambo, I've been James Bond, I've been in Strictly Come Dancing, I've been in Star Wars, all sorts of weird and wonderful photoshops.
In fact, if I remember rightly, I'm not sure about this. You do an actually, which I thought was superb. You did a Zoom package background. I think was it Zoom or I think it was Zoom background package you did.
Yeah.
And I think I'd seen one on there. That was Batman and some other. There was another one I think as examples. I think you showed.
Yeah.
Because Batman's my favourite character. Very dark and mixed dark side. Yeah. And in actual fact, I think it might have been on one of the Cov Buzz on Twitter because you like Iron Man, if I remember rightly.
That's right. Yeah.
And I put a post on the Iron Man 3D printed helmet.
Yes, yeah.
Because I've got the 3D printing business, TCM UK 3D, and I can remember that. So, and I can remember that packet, and I looked at it, thought, actually, the background and everything like that. And I think you were doing it for about £10 or £15 or something.
It's £15. Yeah. So I mean, in terms of those like the Marvel and the Batman and all that kind of stuff, I don't do that only because they're copyrighted images.
Yeah,
they that's me kind of showing off what I can do with backgrounds. But to be honest, I mean, it's this happened when the whole coronavirus thing kicked in, because obviously I do social media management, and during the month of March, all of my clients and all of my potential clients, my whole pipeline just disappeared, kind of almost overnight. Like in the space of a week, they all said, sorry, but we're done now. So for the whole of March, I wasn't making any money. I thought, what do I do here? So I kind of started selling Zoom backgrounds. I did a couple for myself. Everybody went on Zoom.
Yeah.
And in the end, I sold, well, not in the end, I'm still selling them, but I sold about 40 Zoom backgrounds. Because they're really good for subliminal marketing. Yeah. So I kind of tell people, right, have your backgrounds and kind of have your logos and your websites and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of a nominal fee. I'm not a graphic designer, but I know how to do the background.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the one I've seen of yours is you've got all your services down one side.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Marketing Guru and the hashtag above the top, isn't it?
It's either a hashtag or, depending on which one I use, it's the hashtag or my website.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, in places I have my services or my social media links. And
it works really, really well.
It works really well, but particularly for, when people take screenshots, that's the thing. So people go networking and everybody does it now. And they're like, right, here's a screenshot of me on a Zoom meeting. Now, if there's 20 people on the screen and there's only one or two of them with a background, you're only ever going to focus on that one. So your website gets kind of shown everywhere, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, really good.
I tell you, the interesting thought for me, and I just, based on that conversation we've just had, is it really surprises me. But I've seen this in the manufacturing sector. I've seen it in every sector that I've worked in. Training and public and all manner. We get this scenario of something happening. The first thing that they do is roll back on the marketing. The one thing that you want to be doing is pushing the marketing.
Exactly. And it happens in practically every industry. I mean, I've worked in aerospace, I've worked in motorsport, I've worked in engineering, I've worked in retail and leisure and all sorts. And every time, whenever there needs to be a cutback, marketing goes first, because it's always a lot of businesses, a lot of management don't necessarily understand marketing. So it's, for them, it's kind of a nice to have. What they don't understand, or what many business owners don't understand, that it's a process. And if you kind of stop your marketing, it's kind of like, I hate to use the word funnel, but it's like closing the funnel at the top.
Yeah.
And then saying, why is there no water dripping out of the bottom? Well, you've switched the tap off. That's the problem. And it's
I've never got that. And the thing for me, any bit of advice from my side for any businesses out there is that don't ever turn off your marketing without a shadow of a doubt, because Gus has just absolutely put it in very good layman's terms. You've just turned the tap off to your business. You can have, I always used to say, you can have the most efficient factory from manufacturing in the world, but if you ain't got sales, you're dead.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah.
You're dead. And so marketing is bloody key.
It's I don't want to go as far as to say it's a lifeblood of a business, but it's, there's so many elements that it's not an element to lose. Obviously you have to worry about HR or your accounts and your finance and all that kind of stuff, but they're all elements in a jigsaw. If you have an incomplete jigsaw, you're never going to get the right result. That's kind of the thing. There's too many analogies coming out today. But that's kind of the point, right? You have to have every piece, and I think marketing is a key piece.
Yeah, you do have to have every piece. So I think the way I've always looked at it is, we have this, and I used to go into it a lot in the journey of the entrepreneur into the SME, and then it grows into the giraffe gazelle or whatever you wanted to call it. And there's these particular points that you can either drift off and crash and burn, or you go again. And some of these parts is around actually bringing all these functional areas together. But right at this beginning point, the entrepreneur, the solopreneur that's just starting up, the marketing is the branding and all that goes with it is fundamental, because you've got to get the sales in and you've got to get out there.
I see so many businesses basically just kind of say that, just like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't have any sales. I'm not meeting any people. I'm not getting any leads. And it's like, but what are you doing? And it's like, I'm not doing anything. And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know what you expect.
Shrug your shoulders. Come on, Christ. You get on Facebook, get on Twitter, get on Instagram, start digital marketing, get out there. Yeah, it's just, it does surprise me, still surprise me. Anyway, coming back to your career history and that side, I noticed you mentioned Rolls-Royce and procurement, and you've always been in marketing for 20 years, 25 years,
24 years, yeah. I know it looks like I started when I was -3. I make that joke all the time.
Yeah, you and me both.
So
you've got the black beard, I've got the grey one.
Yes, yeah. Oh no, I haven't dyed it today, but yeah, I should. It's coming through.
But I mean, I know Rolls-Royce through my background, and I know that was a way back, wasn't it? 2000. 2002. I noticed you had actually been in the motorsport industry at the MIA. I had a Formula One weekend with them, not last year, the year before.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So in the inner circle area.
Yeah. Those were the days, when we were allowed to go out.
And, oh God, yeah.
Watch races.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I worked with the Motorsport Industry Association. That was probably my first proper kind of marketing job. So I did a little bit of marketing at Rolls-Royce before they said, sorry, we're moving everything abroad. So then I kind of left there, went into the Motorsport Industry Association. And it's great. It was a global traders association. I got to travel the world and meet many kind of interesting and, famous people in essence. And it was brilliant, but it taught me, not only did it teach me a lot about marketing, but it also taught me a lot about motorsport, about engineering, and etc. And what a wonderful industry we have here in the UK.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I don't know if sorry if I preempt any kind of questions, but you know, one of my probably the greatest business mentor I've had, I met at the MI, was a gentleman called Peter Burns, who did he did marketing for McLaren for 20 odd years, and you know, he's got loads of photos with Gerhard Berger and Ayrton Senna and all that kind of stuff, and you know, he's a brilliant guy, but he's a brilliant marketer. And I spent some time with him, and I think, you know, even now, having worked there so many years ago, even now I still remember his kind of teachings and what I kind of learned from him and stuff. So
yeah, that's good. I mean, you do come across these characters, don't you, within your careers that they've had such an impact on your life and your career and your thoughts and the way your journey was going.
Yeah.
I had a couple of them. One of them when I was very, very early on as an engineer, and he was a divisional chief exec, and he trained me in theory of constraints. And I still communicate, and we still talk now. So that was back in the mid-90s, and we're still communicating. In fact, he sent me an email the other day.
Well, no, what's the saying? Nobody ever forgets a good teacher, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. So MIA, you went into that. I know you did Northgate and you Coventry Lep as well. One that pricked my ears up though was the bar owner. Indian bar owner in that side, wasn't it? So
you know, as we've discussed, a long and illustrious career in marketing. I've worked for some of the world's biggest and best companies. I worked for local authorities. I was well known and etc. And then the owner of essentially my local pub said, "Oh, I'm looking for somebody to run my pub." I said, "Oh, yeah, I can do that. Can't be that hard." Yeah, it was ridiculously hard. It was the you know, it was just like a learning curve. It was more or less like, here's a contract, here's the keys, you know, get on with it. And I don't know if you've ever kind of been in a cellar of a pub, but when somebody says, right, you got to change this gas bowl and change this CO2 bowl and change that barrel over there, you kind of look and you're like, what? And it's just, yeah, it was a massive, and it was a restaurant as well. So then it's kind of the chef and the food and the hygiene certificates and, you know, and all this other kind of stuff. And it was just, you know, the first few months were just kind of running around. It was literally like headless chicken. No, not literally, obviously, but you know, metaphorically like headless chicken. Yeah, it was really hard, but it was fun. It was fun. You know, you get to be social and meet lots of people and all that kind of stuff. But do
you think that's where your social network? Because I know you do a lot of social networking side. Do you think that was where it was really, really reinforced with that, with the being front of house and stuff, or have you always had that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always done kind of physical networking, so meeting people and going out there, etc. And then obviously the social media side, particularly when you run your own business. So up until that point, I've always worked for somebody else. So I've always done marketing for other people, kind of thing. But when you start running your own business, then when you realize you have to do your own marketing, it's a completely different tack. And particularly with a pub and restaurant, if you don't do your marketing, you don't get bums on seats. Like nobody comes in and you make no money. So you know, it's, you know, that's where I learned the you know, really in depth the social media side of it, and I kind of did lots of training and kind of education alongside that, but also the actual networking side of it, like meeting people, making conversations, you know, kind of developing relationships. I think that's really important, particularly with a pub, because obviously you really rely on your suppliers, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's you kind of make relationships with the people that come through and the people you're selling to, but the people you're buying from as well.
Did you ever get to that point when you took it on thinking, oh shit, what have I done?
Yeah, practically every morning, to be honest. But, you know, because it was, I mean, to be honest, because it was a full-on job and it was 7 days a week. I was there kind of all day, every day. But the reason it was only ever going to be short term. But the reason I mainly stopped that was because my wife gave birth to our son, and it's not running a pub for 7 days a week and spending, you know, 12, 14, 16 hours a day out of the house. It's just, you know, I mean, you can earn all the money in the world, but if you don't get time to spend it or spend time with your family and all that kind of stuff, it just wasn't, you know, worth it. So
I've made some decisions on my career based on that, without a shadow of a doubt. Not seeing my kids.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what led me into marketing. You see, I think that it was because I've always done marketing, and even when I ran the pub, I did a kind of bit of marketing on the side for a couple of local businesses. But the way I started my marketing business was while I ran the pub, one of our nearest rivals came to me and said, "Who does your marketing for you?" And I said, "Oh, some guy called the Marketing Guru." Just kind of left it at that. And then once I left the pub, I went to him and I said, "Oh, just so you know, I'm the Marketing Guru, etc." And he employed me there and then, and I've been doing their marketing kind of ever since.
Yeah, because that was something I was going to. I noticed that the Marketing Guru, you'd started in 2017, and you'd still got the bar in 2018. And I was going to ask you, was that the case that the merge happened for you to, or the transition happened whilst you were doing the bar?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like I said, because I've always been doing the marketing, I've always kind of done that on the side, and particularly kind of taking that learning and kind of starting my own business from it. But yeah, there was it's a long story. It was a contractual issue, because obviously you have kind of break clauses and kind of notice periods and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to hit the ground running, so that once I did kind of walk out the pub, then I could kind of say, yes, I have a business, rather than take a sabbatical or chill out. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't want to do. I kind of wanted to go, straight back into the world of work, kind of thing. So
I have to say, I think that is quite wise, to be fair, because I decided to leave the exec role I was in. Made that decision. Then I was project managing some stuff to do with my daughter in the school. Then decided to do the business, and of course, I'm starting from ground zero then, with no income, nothing. And that puts a completely different light on it. And so that I think is, if you can do it, you to run alongside as you go in that transition. So start working in the background on the business, so you at least can you're walking, not necessarily running, but you're walking, and you've got some.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it took a while to get my business up to the level that I wanted. I mean, well over kind of 12 months. But the point was that people knew about what I was doing. I already kind of had a client lined up, for example. And yeah, it's that kind of, like you say, not necessarily running, but at least you kind of start walking, because it changes your mindset. It's all very well, when you work for somebody else, you get a salary and stuff, you do your job, you go home, and that's it. And you see some money in the bank, and you pay a mortgage, and you buy a car, and put food on the table, and all that kind of stuff. When you don't have that anymore, then it kind of completely changes your mindset in terms of what's important and what's not.
It does. It just, that one does. And is the, some of mine was that, as we were talking about earlier, for me was that work-life balance side. And in the end, I was thinking, well, I'll set the business up so I can get that work-life balance. No, it wasn't. It doesn't work like that at all. And I look at it now as like I say when I do some of the training stuff, it's more of a work-life integration. So I make time for my family. So if my family need me at that particular point, I do, and I catch back up, and that catch back up on my work that I've lost. Could be late evening, early hours of the morning, could be over weekend. It's how I integrate it into it.
Indeed. And as the cliche goes, the best thing about owning your own business is you get to choose which 16 hours of the day you work. That's essentially what it's about. But I mean, once I started my own business, it was the work-life integration, because I do a lot of work in the evenings or early mornings or weekends, etc. I'm very lucky that I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without my wife, to be honest. My wife works, and she's always around, and etc. And she's kind of supported me massively, like the number one support in my business, and obviously helping me to get it off the ground and all the rest of it. But at the same time, I kind of get to spend time with my son, and I get to do the nursery drop-offs and pickups and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if I was running a pub, that never would have happened, basically. I used to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, leave the house, get home at like after midnight, and then do the same again the next day, every single day. So
that's that. I know when you said that it'll be easy, I thought, oh my god, because I know some of the Republicans on that side, and it is long hours, isn't it? And that family orientated, especially if you're not living in as well, is that side. It's you are fully absent. So coming back to it, I meant to ask this early on. I normally do a highs and lows of the last 7 days. Have you got a high and a low?
So my particularly over the last 7 days. So I do a lot of work for obviously other organizations. I have clients and all the rest of it, but other organizations I work for are, for example, I've done work for Coventry University and the Chamber of Commerce, Coventry and Warwickshire Chamber of Commerce, etc. I help to run some workshops for the Coventry and Warwickshire Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
So last week I did LinkedIn. A couple of weeks before that I did content marketing. And what they've done is, because they're getting such, it sounds very arrogant, because they're getting such great feedback from my workshops, they've essentially given me a range of workshops for the rest of the year.
Superb.
Which is great. So I've got I'm doing a couple a month, every month, until December, which is great. They're fully funded for the people that turn up. So essentially they're kind of free, but I get to deliver them, and I get to kind of obviously impart my knowledge with more people. So that's that's definitely a high over the last kind of 7 years.
That is, and the thing that is superb, because the recognition of the value added you're giving to the people out there that are doing that content marketing, doing that LinkedIn side. And it also is great recognition from you from a business point of view as well. So, it's, for me, absolutely well done. That's what it is about.
As with any, I mean, the teaching from that, or the learning for people from that, is that it's all about essentially building your fan base. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. I think a lot of people go into, they kind of say no to stuff. Oh, I don't want to do that because I'm not going to make any money out of it. Or I don't want to do that because it's going to take up time, etc. Well, actually, it's one of the key things about content marketing is that it's a long-term strategy.
Yeah.
So it's all about, if you impart enough knowledge and people eventually think, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And at the moment they're ready to buy, they'll come to you before going to somebody who sends them a cold message on LinkedIn, for example.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it is. LinkedIn has changed so much, particularly even now, these past few weeks, the behaviours and things like that. And I don't know, have you seen this in the content marketing side? Is that you used to post at a particular time within LinkedIn, and I began to notice this really because I go out for an early morning walk.
Yeah.
And whereas before there was loads of traffic about, the traffic has sort of like shifted on later, sort of like by a couple of hours. So people are lining in and shifting it over. They're not up at the normal hours. So the posting times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, one of the things I always teach in kind of my social media classes is that there's no bad time to post. If you have great kind of content, you can post at any time.
Yeah.
But having said that, don't kill your chances. Don't post at like 2:00 in the morning, because that would be ridiculous. But yes, I'm seeing a shift in terms of things are just kind of shifting along the day. But having said that, because people are at home all day, because obviously we're going through the whole coronavirus and COVID, stuff. People are spending a lot more time at home, which basically means that they're online a lot more, which basically means that at the moment that they read could be any time. I mean, I'll switch on my phone at 7:00 in the morning and I'll have kind of 8 or 9 LinkedIn notifications of people that have been doing stuff over the evening, over the night kind of thing. You think, wow, what time did you get up?
I found this one fascinating, because I've noticed as well that because people are at home, they are coming on. So posts are actually, and this is why I like LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, if your post keep getting engagement, it stays at the top of the line. I'm still getting likes and comments from posts that were done weeks back, which it's changed that way as well.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, indeed. And and I get the same. And I think what happens is, as long as you get good engagement, then it will continue to be seen for quite a while. I mean, to be honest, it happens on most other channels as well. So it happens on Instagram, it happens on Twitter as well, not so much on Facebook. But they've shifted away from the chronological, because what they understand is that people, when it's chronological, people will just keep scrolling until they find something they read. Whereas now the algorithms work so that it shows you what it thinks is important to you. Which is brilliant. No two feeds in the world are the same. Basically, that's the thing. Everybody's feed is unique to them because of the stuff that they're reading and searching for, and etc. So,
no, it is fascinating how they have got all of this sewn up across.
Good content will always be good content. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, and that for me is the key. Is if you hit the nail on the head. If it's good content, it's good content, and it will work. And it's that long-term strategy side.
Yeah.
So coming back to the marketing guru, the business, and you know the sales and marketing side
Yeah.
very well, obviously, for 25 years, 25,
yeah,
20 plus. What was the biggest learning curve for you for starting the business side up from that?
I think for me, it was about building trust. I think that's the biggest learning curve. There's a whole load of stuff. So I think one of the things is that you have to build trust with people. So when you go in and kind of you do the whole, this is what I do for a living, this is how much I charge, you should buy from me. People aren't interested.
Yeah.
They don't trust you. They have no idea. They could literally, it's like the yellow pages. They could just pick somebody from the yellow pages. No reviews, no nothing, because it's all about social proof. So you build that trust. People will want to see testimonials. They want to see followers on your LinkedIn page and all that kind of stuff. So that was a big learning curve right at the beginning, because obviously you can't build trust in a short amount of time.
Nope.
And that's one of the cruxes of content marketing, that actually it's a slow drip, long-term strategy to make sure that people know that you're the authority in what you do. So that was probably one of the biggest learning curves. I've made a note here. The other thing was the day that I stopped using the word competition was the day that my business started growing. Because for me, it was whenever I focused on competition, or focused on, oh, look what they're doing, or look what they're doing, or they look better than me, or they look worse than me. And, when you start comparing yourself to other people, you kind of fall into a rut, and you kind of fall into a little letterbox, and you don't want to do a pigeonhole kind of thing. So you don't want to do that. So once I stopped seeing competition and kind of, one of my biggest competitors around here in Coventry and Warwickshire, we've done some work together, for example, because he said he likes what I do. So whereas before I would have seen him as a competitor and said, I hate him and I never want to work with him, whereas now we're actually collaborating and making money from each other and stuff. So it's, that's so never see competition. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That comparison, I don't know, imposter syndrome, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, from coming in and question yourself and am I good enough, and comparing, look what they're doing, they're better than me and this and the other. For me, I think you've some of it on the nail of the head there with the collaboration side is your competitors can be bloody good partners in joint ventures and things like that, because they've got experience on one side, you've got experience on another, you come together and you've got the whole basis there. Absolutely fantastic from
exactly that. And even kind of people in kind of similar industries. So I work with, for example, virtual assistants who might offer social media services, for example. Currently I don't do paid social like Facebook ads and Google ads and all that kind of stuff, but I know people that do. On paper they would be competitors, but actually we don't do the same job at all. No. So they send social media management to me, I send Facebook ads to them, or Google ads or whatever it is, etc. And everybody wins.
It works.
Yeah, exactly.
That's business, isn't it? It's business.
That's business. Yeah, exactly. We all outsource everything else. So like we outsource. For example, if you're a manufacturer, you can't build the car from scratch. Yourself. It's not a one-man job. Kind of thing. I don't know, unless you're Noble or Morgan or something. But anyway, generally it's not a one-man job. That's the thing. So you have to have a team, and where as soon as you stop seeing competition and see collaboration, I think it kind of it will help your business grow.
Yeah, that's good. That's good words. Good wise words there. So as soon as we're talking about platforms and social media and everything like that, where do you see this going? Because I know you've posted you've done some trials and things, tests on the Facebook rooms and all manner of stuff. I've seen the Facebook looking at this cross-platform messaging, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, so you can cross-platform message. We've got Facebook shops, Instagram shops, which I think is opening out to products, isn't it, more than anything other than services as yet? Which I can see very, very good, because I have the online products that I sell and that side, which I can see good. LinkedIn are doing newsletters, but it's invite only. They do obviously lives and all other stuff. We seem to be seeing a switch to stories, where the focus is going on stories. So Instagram, I think, are pushing, I've seen that they're pushing this double story feed at the minute. And I got me thinking as to where are these going? And I thought, actually, that would be a really good question to ask Gus to see what he thinks around it.
as soon as I find an expert in this, I'll let you know. But no. So I think basically, I think okay. Let's start with stories. Stories is a key point because LinkedIn are going to do stories, Pinterest are doing stories, still in the kind of beta test, for example. So there's loads of basically, as time goes on in life, as humans, our attention spans are getting shorter.
Yeah.
And particularly now with everybody being at home and everybody being on social media and everybody using their phones, your attention spans have got even shorter. And I think very quickly the social media networks have basically got their developers on board to say, right, we need to essentially, appease the public. We need to kind of give them, short form information. So that's stories. It's stuff that's around for 24 hours. It's stuff at the top of your page. You kind of see it, you click on it. It takes 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 15 seconds, and then it's done, kind of thing. And if it's something you're interested in, you either swipe up or you click on it or you go to profile and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's the social media platforms are appeasing the short-term nature of people's attention span.
Yeah.
And coupled to that, this is where things like Facebook shops and Instagram shops come in, because it keeps you on the platform. Some people, I mean, I don't know who, but if some people don't have enough time to switch to a different browser, it's like they see something on Facebook. Oh, I want to buy that. Oh, I'll go to a website and go and put in my e-commerce details and my credit card and all that kind of stuff, etc. They don't even have time for that. So Facebook thought, we'll just do it in one place. You see something on Facebook, you click purchase, your credit card details are already stored, and 24 hours it's at your door. It's to stop people. It's obviously Facebook wants everybody to stay on their platform. But that's where it comes. Somebody asked me the other day, is it a competition for Amazon? If I mean, I don't think it is, but if you really delve into it, yeah, possibly it could be, because they're all e-commerce channels basically.
Yeah.
But it's all about keeping people in the same place. Facebook and their Facebook suite of products will know more about you than, to be honest, you probably know about yourself.
Yeah.
They know more than the governments. They know more than the local police. They know more than anybody. Your own partners, kind of thing, because you spend most of your time on it.
Yeah.
That's where the algorithms work as well, because like I said earlier, no two feeds are the same. So you're only ever seeing stuff that's tailored for you. And it's ridiculously super clever. And if we relate this to business, what businesses don't understand is they just think, well, I'll post something on Facebook and people will see it and then I'll make money. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. That's where content marketing comes in, because people won't see anything if they're not one of your fans. If they're not one of your brand ambassadors, they're never going to see anything anyway. Doesn't matter how many times you post. So it's, what I'm seeing is the content marketing long form side coupled with the short attention span. So, it's the Coca-Cola story, right? Coca-Cola in the first year only sold 100 bottles, but they since then have got a multi-billion-pound business. So when you go to the newsagent and buy a can of Coke, it only costs £1, and it takes you a split second to make that decision. But they've spent billions and billions of pounds, so you make a decision in a split second. And that's where content marketing comes in with this, short form, short attention span, social media. So they'll spend loads of time content marketing to make sure that when you are ready to make a decision, you make it just like that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that's essentially, social media is supposed to take the hassle out of our lives, basically. This is why we have kind of the smart speakers and all that kind of stuff. Alexa, play a tune and all that kind of stuff. It's how busy must your life be that you have to tell somebody else to put a song on for you? That's life, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the one thing is, and funny enough, it was my birthday last week, and I was actually sitting there thinking, "Oh, shall I get an Alexa or something like that?" Because I haven't got one. Purely for the point of fact is, I like music. I like playing music. I have vinyl. I have CDs. Thousands upon thousands.
Yeah. Wow.
So I do like it, and that's the one of the things is that as you say, how busy is your life got to be for you to turn around and talk to this bloody disc thing and say play this song, whereas I want to be able to listen to it on
And that's, I mean, you make a point about kind of vinyl and even CDs. I mean, but my son's only 3 years old. By the time he grows up, he's not going to know what CDs are. He's going to see them in my drawer and like, Dad, what's this crap kind of thing, and it's kind of same with vinyl, right? The taking it out of the sleeve and putting on the record player and placing the needle and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a lost art soon.
It is, yeah, it is.
But everything in life, we're going to, autonomous vehicles and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I love driving. I just love kind of being out on the open road and all that kind of stuff. I'd hate to think that, I could just summon my car and get in the back and be taken somewhere and stuff. Probably wouldn't happen in my lifetime, but, it's just, I don't know. I think there's a fine balance between taking away our autonomy just to have other autonomous things around us. So,
just because when I look at this, because I've been involved with some of the autonomous vehicle stuff at Myra, not far from here.
Oh yeah.
And from the manufacturing side, and I often get into this deep thought processes. Where the hell are we ending up? And I always come back to the film WALL-E. With the little robot, and we're on this ship, and we're just, everything's done for us, and we're just traveling around on these little things. And I just think, just how far do we really need to go with this stuff?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, me personally, I think it should just stop at social media. Basically, if you want somebody to manage your social media for you, then I think you should hire somebody who is ridiculously handsome. But
absolutely.
Beyond that, I think you should do things yourself.
Excellent. Which brings me into this, the digital marketing, content marketing, and what are your top tips? If somebody's just starting out, we had a conversation beforehand, just starting out, what would you say, what would your advice be to them in looking at it?
If somebody was starting out in business, and they wanted to concentrate on marketing, I think one of the key things would be to always, no matter what, be yourself. There's no credit in trying to be something you're not, trying to be someone else, etc. Because as with anything in life, people buy from people. We understand who people are. We want to see people's smiles and the whites of their eyes and all that kind of stuff. We want to know who we're buying from. There's a reason that we all know Richard Branson. He's the face of that company. The same with Bill Gates. The same with Lord Sugar. They're the faces of their companies. Whether you like their companies or not is a different matter, but you know the faces. And that's bringing that down on a smaller level in terms of a small business level. We like to shake hands. We like to hug. We like to kiss on the cheek and meet people and sit down and talk to them, etc. This is why Zoom has taken off. We may not be allowed out, but we still want to see people's faces. We still want to see people's reactions and their hand movements and all the rest of it. But if you are not yourself, then you're always going to come across as a fake, because at some point you will be found out.
Yeah.
So always be honest, always be consistent. That would be kind of my number one kind of piece of advice. My second piece of advice is always think long term. Don't ever think I'm going to sell instantly here, because it's all about building relationships. I get leads today of people that I met 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Or people that I've met, like I do lots of networking and face-to-face networking when we were allowed. I met people week in, week out, every single week, all the time, particularly on either Twitter hours or in face-to-face meetings and all the rest of it, etc. It takes months and months before they think, oh, actually, I want to buy from this guy. But because I've met them every week and they've learned to trust me and I'm, always myself and etc. At the moment they were ready to buy, they came to me as opposed to going to somebody else.
Yeah.
So always be yourself and think long term. That's kind of.
And that one is because I've had a few now with that long term side. I've had a few exactly the same as what you were saying. Is that they've actually, LinkedIn is one of my main platforms. No two ways about it. For a B2B point of view, can be B2C, but B2B. Where I didn't know, but they'd been, you could say, stalking me as you like for 2 years. And this was on the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
This was a $1 billion turnover business. The head of manufacturing had been watching and seeing what I was doing, and then straight away when they were ready, contacted.
Yeah, and so you make a great point actually, because I think social media is full of lurkers. So, for example, I have a Facebook page, I have a Facebook business group, which I know you're kind of.
I am in,
and obviously your LinkedIn and your Instagram and your Twitter and all that kind of stuff. It's impossible And I don't think there's many people in the world that could say they know every single one of their followers. It's impossible.
No, yeah.
But having said that, so I know the majority of my followers, but there are lots of people that I don't know, or there's lots of people that I know and they don't engage. They never like anything, they never comment, and etc. But they're lurkers because they're always watching. They'll always log in at some point.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So sometimes it's about saying hello to the lurkers. The people that are your brand ambassadors and your fans and the people that engage and have conversations. You already know them. They're kind of, that's kind of your hot audience. But essentially, your lukewarm audience are the people that never engage with you, but they will at some point, and they will at the moment you're ready to buy. And they're the people that when you're posting stuff, they're the people that obviously you want to engage, that you want to talk to eventually. But even if they never do, that's okay because they're still saving your stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I've seen that a number of times. I've had that. That was the most recent one for me. So it is definitely long term, definitely. The other one that your first point around the Richard Branson, that side, I was told, what was it said to me by one of my mentors, because I was operations, I learned the sales and marketing, so I went into getting mentors around that. And they said to me, what did they say? And in actual fact, I read it recently. I think it was in a Daniel Priestley book where they asked the question, what's the colour of the first letter of Google? And it's go on, let's test it. Can you remember?
Yeah, it's like a bluey, red, yellow. I have no idea.
Well, that's the thing, is that you use that multiple times a day. The first letter is blue, and I got it wrong. I got it wrong. I wouldn't know. And that's why they were saying that our brains are wired up to remember faces, not logos. Now I notice it. I notice you have the orange tie. I think you've had orange shoes. So I think you've always got something orange.
Always,
within your branding. Something about you personally. Mine, although I haven't got one on here at the minute with the Zoom, is I'm known for the black shirt and the white beard. And so I can walk around, I don't know whether you're the same, I've walked around some of the trade shows and things like that, and people have come to me and say, I know you. Where have I seen you from? And it'd be from LinkedIn and the photo or something else like that. So that branding-esque side, you say like Richard Branson, Elon Musk and everything, it's that branding. And then as it grows, your logo may come into it more and more. But I've that one I found fascinating, that little tweak of doing something that makes people remember you, because I knew yours was orange.
It's all psychological. Like I always tell the story of when I went to an exhibition in London where two guys at two separate occasions kind of came up to me at the same exhibition in London, like 150 miles away from where I live, and kind of came up to me and said, "You're Gus, aren't you?" I'm like, "How do you know that?" And both of them said, "It's because you're wearing an orange tie." To be fair, not one of them said, "Oh, it's because you're wearing silly shoes or wearing a turban or you got glasses on." It was the orange tie. And it stands out. And as time goes on, it's about that. The brand recognition. My logo is basically a hashtag in a speech bubble, and then obviously the guru next to that. If you saw, if you knew me, if you saw the hashtag in the speech bubble, you would associate the two. Like for example, if you see the golden arches, the M, it's McDonald's. You see the orange smile, it's Amazon. And it's you see the white writing on red background, you assume it's Coca-Cola. That kind of and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that any of us are going to be those multi-billion-pound businesses anytime soon. Well, exactly. but it's all about brand recognition, and I think however you do that, whether it's black shirt, white beard, whether it's orange trainers and a kind of orange tie, whatever it may be, you have to differentiate yourself. Because let's be honest, there's 7 billion people in the world. Lots of people run businesses. Lots of people are on social media. There's bringing it back to social media, on the Facebook suite of products, there's 3 billion people worldwide. So, how do you compete with 3 billion people? You have to stand out. I mean, you never have to compete with 3 billion, but it's about standing out. It's about,
being yourself, standing out and having this little differentiation.
It's the story of the two guys in the jungle who see the tiger, right? They walk through the jungle, they see a tiger. And one of them sits down and gets his rucksack off and takes his trainers out and starts putting his trainers on. And the other guy says, "What are you doing? You're not going to outrun a tiger." He says, "I know, but I'm going to outrun you." That's the thing. You don't have to be the best in the world. You just got to be the best around the people around you, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Now I know we've discussed the networking side briefly. We've overdone it. Now I know you're a Cov Buzz ambassador.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't it? So tell me a little bit about that.
So Coventry Bar. So Business Bars is a networking group that started. I believe it started around Hertfordshire, kind of in the home counties, etc. And then it kind of expanded from there. So it's incredibly informal. It's but still business focused. So basically, there's no memberships, there's no tie-ins, none of that kind of stuff. And then they kind of launched in Coventry. I met the guy who kind of runs it. They launched in Warwick first, then they launched in Rugby, and then they launched in Coventry. And I was a kind of a part of all of them. And then the guy who runs it locally in Warwickshire, James Brodie, kind of said, "Oh, would you like to be an ambassador for Coventry, seeing as you live in Coventry, etc." And I jumped at the chance because I said yes. So I'll do that. And basically, being an ambassador simply means that I kind of shout about it and tell people that you should come along to this networking event. But the beauty is that other than the £5 entry fee, there's nothing else. You don't have to, you can wear what you want, you can talk to who you want. It's incredibly informal, but obviously, weirdly, when you give people a kind of a low entry point, more business is done. Nothing is forced. It's not like, you have to, not that there's anything wrong with memberships, but it's like, you don't have to sign up to a membership. You don't have to come every single week, or you don't have to do this or turn up, we're wearing this and all that kind of stuff. It's just really relaxed. And I think when in a relaxed atmosphere, it's, business grows. So because we used to meet face to face, then we turned into a Twitter hour.
Yeah.
But now we can announce that we've got this new software from America. It's called Remo, and it's brilliant. And basically, it's groups of 6 sitting around a table. So it's like the Zoom call, but groups of 6. And then you can move around tables and talk to other people, etc. But it's all online. So it's the next step is literally just meeting back in public again. So
yeah, because I think they're testing it down in was it Oxford Way and that way? I think they've been testing
Banbury and Bicester,
yeah, coming into Cov is July, isn't it? I think
that's correct. Yeah, the first Wednesday.
Because I should be going. I want to get to that. I want to be on that.
Please do. You're welcome.
Because it's I've been on a couple of the Twitter hours. I didn't know about I got to know about the Business Buzz. It was around about February time. But of course, then we went into the COVID stuff and it just stopped. So I want to come along when we get back to it. I want to come along to those as well, because it is on the Twitter out. It was nice, warm, friendly. It went at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It was great from that side. And I think that software will, from what I've seen with the postings out, looks good. So I recommend anybody in and around that area, the Cov area, to go and have a look, because I think it is £5, as you say, and
it's
can't beat it.
Apart from anything, it's the software is ridiculously expensive, but that's not that's not the key. The key is that you pay £5 to network with essentially your fellow businesses, and because it's online, there'll be businesses from all over the Midlands. Although we're focused, Cov Buzz is focused on Coventry, obviously. Then you have Rugby Buzz focused on Rugby and Warwick, etc. But there's a real kind of mix and match. It's a real kind of family feeling, if you know what I mean. And I've built so many business relationships through Buzz, and through I do a lot of other networking as well. I kind of do for networking, and I do there's Fab networking, Find a Biz networking, etc. And obviously there's loads of stuff that I do through Chamber of Commerce. So there's and I think that's networking for me has been a lifeblood of my business, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's building relationships, right? That's the
thing. It is, and that absolutely building relationships, that know, like, and trust factor. Fab Network, I know that's Amanda. I know Fab and that side. 4N, I've been to a couple of 4Ns, but for me it's that I can't make that regular time slot. Because I could be out on site, I could be working with somebody and things like that. Whereas I know with the Business Buzz, they're like once a month, aren't they? I can diarise it in, and I know. You've got to make time for that networking and social side anyway. But when it's paid work, you've got to take the pay as well.
Indeed, of course, yeah. I guess that's another business tip. Money is king. Money will always come first. That's the thing. You can network as much as you want to, wear as many orange ties as you want. If you're not earning money, forget about it.
Absolutely. In a nutshell, then, so what does being a business owner mean to you? For you?
For me, it's I get, like I said before, I get to choose which 16 hours of the day I work, but it's, flexibility. Now, again, thanks to my wife, I can be a little bit more flexible in life as such. But I think being a business owner means that I'm flexible in my own life, but I get to help others where they need help. I'm not kind of pigeonholed. I'm not kind of like just giving I haven't just got a job title and I do this one thing for people. It's all about building those relationships over time. And people that I network with is, I've got one business that I network with. They come and clean my wheelie bins every month, for example. Just somebody I met on a Twitter hour. It's very easy to network with other people and get suppliers and meet people and all that kind of stuff, etc. But for me, flexibility is key. But also, I love helping people. I know that sounds really kind of, I'm not trying to be a martyr about it, but obviously I help people and they pay me. But the point is that I help them how they need to be helped, rather than pigeonholing them in one particular aspect of business where I can't help them in others. I can help them in all aspects of digital marketing. So,
Excellent. That's the one thing for me, is that freedom, that control side of being able to do what you want to do, where to focus, having spent the time, and you can't beat it. So where can we find the marketing guru?
So interesting. Everywhere. That's the main thing. So if you see the name, I don't know which corner it is, but at mguru UK. If you just literally Google at mguru UK, you'll find me everywhere. So I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group. Got a website, write a blog, etc. I'm on TikTok, but I haven't posted anything on TikTok yet. I might do at some point, but not yet. But it's but my website, themguru.co.uk. That's kind of you find all my information there.
Excellent.
Essentially, you can find me anywhere online.
You want to do some of those animated Rambo things with your face on into TikTok with some music playing at the background or something.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll have to get my designer involved in that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Gus, it's been an absolute pleasure. Brilliant chat. And I shall be catching up with you anyway as we move on. But thank you very much.
Definitely. No, thank you.